How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is TheStarkz, and welcome to some very exciting news regarding the next PlayStation console called PlayStation 5, which launches next year around the holiday season. Now, this is an article provided by Jim Ryan, whom I'm sure we all know is the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, and he put out a pretty brief post on the PlayStation blog website, and then I'm going to follow it up with a Wired article or a piece of a Wired article. So without further delay, let's get into what it has to say. So Jim Ryan stated that since we originally unveiled our next generation console in April, we know that there's been a lot of excitement and interest in hearing more about what the future of games will bring. Today, I'm proud to share that our next generation console will be called the PlayStation 5 and will be launching in no time for holiday of 2020. These updates may not be a huge surprise, but we wanted to confirm them for our PlayStation fans as we start to reveal additional details about our vision for the next generation. Wired magazine covered these updates and more in a story that posted this morning. The quote-unquote more refers to something I'm quite excited about, a preview of the new controller that will ship with PlayStation 5. One of our goals with the next generation is to deepen the feeling of immersion when you play games, and we had the opportunity with our new controller to reimagine how the sense of touch can add to that immersion. To that end, there are two key innovations with the PlayStation 5's new controller. First, we're adopting haptic feedback to replace the rumble technology found in controllers since the 5th generation of consoles. With haptics, you truly feel a broadened range of feedback, so crashing into a wall in a race car feels much different than making a tackle on the football field. You can even get a sense of variety of textures when running through fields of grass or plooting through mud. The second innovation is something we call adaptive triggers, which have been incorporated into the trigger buttons L2 and R2. Developers can program the resistance of the triggers so that they feel the tactile sensation of drawing a bow and arrow or accelerating an off-road vehicle through rocky terrain. In combination with the haptics, this can produce a powerful experience that better simulates various actions. Game creators have started to receive early versions of the new controller, and we can't wait to see where their imagination goes with these new features at their disposal. While there's much more to share about the PlayStation 5 in the year ahead, we have plenty of blockbuster experiences coming your way on PlayStation 4, including Death Stranding, The Last of Us Part 2, and Ghost of Tsushima. I'd like to thank all PlayStation fans for continuing the journey with us as we embark on the future of games. So, before I get into the PlayStation 5 news, that's interesting that Jim Ryan announces that, hey, we're also going to get Ghost of Tsushima for PlayStation 4. I always thought that Ghost of Tsushima would be more towards the PlayStation 5, as some form of launch game, but perhaps that might be The Last of Us Factions. Who knows? Now, I was going to read the Wired article or bits of it, but it essentially tackled the exact same thing that Jim Ryan spoke about, which is interesting. The fact that Jim Ryan is a lot more excited about the controller is interesting. Maybe because the console is just as powerful as I'm sure we all are figured out by now. Like, they're going to adapt some form of ray tracing graphics, which will enhance the performances and the graphics of the game of our choosing. And then we obviously know that SSDs are probably going to be introduced, because as we know, they normally use a hard disk drive, which essentially is slower than SSD when people use it on their computers and whatnot. But that's interesting. Not much word about the features of the PlayStation 5 and its capabilities, but like I said, I'm sure it's because he's really confident about it. So I'm excited to see how the controller will compare to the PlayStation or the DualShock 4 rather, because as we know, DualShock 4 controllers, their battery kind of, the battery just is all over the place. Like, you have to charge it quite often because of the lighting. And because it holds a lot of weight to it, not that it's heavy necessarily, but it holds a lot of different features and capabilities, such as the lighting, such as the touchpad, such as the D-pads, and all of the external or additional buttons that you can use, for engaging in whatever action you wish to do on your PlayStation 4. So it's interesting. Like I'm definitely. It sounds cool how. I think you mentioned the resistance of the triggers. So the adaptive triggers will allow the feeling of specific games and specific movements to feel a lot more realistic. Like hitting towards like obviously with the PlayStation 4 controller. When you feel like I have my vibration on, a lot of people don't play with vibration. I find that kind of odd because I need to feel that input to make it feel like I'm actually doing something. People don't do that. I don't know. People turn it off. I don't turn it off. But essentially what I'm trying to say is the vibration feels very, very universal. Like it feels like it's the same. Like if you hit a wall in this game or you punch this guy, and if the vibration input is, I guess, I don't know if there's a way to necessarily lower the feel of the vibration in respects to the developer side, but if there is, if there isn't, then I think this is what the adaptive triggers are aiming to change, is this universal feel regarding the vibration, which is interesting because, like, it's true. If you're a football player, you shouldn't feel that same input when you hit a wall when you're driving. So a lot of different features with the PlayStation 5 controller that's going to make it feel a lot more immersive. And I'm obviously excited to see how that'll play out. Of course, let me know your thoughts and opinions, comments, regarding PlayStation 5. When do you think is the release date? Personally, I think it's going to come out probably in November, just as the PlayStation 4 did. Because it seems like a decent time to release it. And let me know if you're excited for the controller. What do you think it might look like in comparison to the PlayStation 4, if you can possibly describe that? And of course, let me know your overall thoughts and opinions. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new to my channel and like the video. And with that being said, I've been TheStarkz. Peace.